Eddie Redman. I want to welcome you
Thank you
to our new podcast here.
Yeah, should be fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
Not a problem.
And so I was just looking and catching up. We've known each other for over 18 years.
Wow.
Actually, you opened a BizX account on 4/20/2005, so 18 years ago. Our 18-year anniversary is coming up in a couple of days.
Yeah.
So, but Grand Event Rentals, how long have you guys, and I think we've been working with you, right, pretty much from day one.
Since 2003.
Okay.
So Grand Event Rentals was started by two guys, fresh out of Wazoo.
Yeah.
And they started in 2001.
Okay.
They approached me to come to work for them as a manager. And as the business grew and they realized what they were in for, they were like, we'd like you to purchase it from us. This is more work than we were anticipating. And that was 2003. And they were like, by the way, we use this company called BizX. They're great. It's a barter trade company. And we love it. You should try it. I'm like, what? And then we started using it right away. And I think officially we transferred in 2005. But
yeah.
Really,
wrote it
2003 on.
So
using it.
So tell me about, I ran into some of your people at the Northwest Event Show. Shout out to Stuart Butler here.
Yeah.
Great show.
Show.
And they were telling me about your history prior in Salt Lake City and the Olympics and all that. And that was pretty fascinating. So tell me about that story.
Well, if you go way back, summers, going to college, I was working for a rental company, which my dad was a dispatcher at.
Okay.
I started doing that. And then I ended up going to LA for 3 years, working for a rental company, worked my way up to the largest one in the chain.
Okay.
Decided LA was a little bit of a rat race down there. Moved back to Seattle and purchased a rental company up here. Abbey Party Rents, probably a lot of people know that.
Okay.
And then, and actually, as I was doing that, in 96, I worked for the Summer Olympics in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
And then, even before that, did the Goodwill Games here.
Okay.
And then in 2000, decided to leave the rental business and went to work for Salt Lake City Olympics.
What were you doing for these Olympics?
I basically worked for the logistics department. It was really like a giant rental company.
Yeah.
We ordered everything in. I didn't do the sporting good equipment, but it did include sporting goods.
Yeah.
And just was there for 2 years, and it was just a great experience. And then part of what I did was create the equipment that would sell the best.
Yeah.
Right?
So at the end of it, you get rid of it.
So you could get some money out of it, not just like throw it all away.
So how many people came through the Salt Lake City Olympics?
Oh, it's hundreds of thousands.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I just went to Salt Lake City for the first time last week.
Wow.
Spent the weekend. What a beautiful city.
Oh, it was a great experience.
And it's changing all the time.
It is. The only thing, I wish I'd bought a house down. The houses were so reasonable when I was there.
Yeah.
But it was a great, welcoming city. They had light rail. I was there in, 2011 when the planes hit the building, and we were in the tallest building of Salt Lake.
Yeah.
So that was kind of
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
Sorry, 2001.
Yeah.
And that was an incredible experience in the middle of that.
I bet.
But it was a great experience just doing that. And then when I came up here, that's what we talked about earlier.
So tell us about the rental business. So Grand Event Rentals, what do you guys do? Who's your customer? What do you rent? What don't you rent? Just tell us a little bit more about that.
So basically, rentals, I like saying, is the original green business.
Okay.
Because you rent it, it goes out, it comes back.
Right.
And you just keep doing it. So basically, it's tables, chairs, tents, stages, linens, dishware, china, silverware, glassware, and then even trade shows. We do quite a bit of trade shows. In fact, like you said, the Northwest Event Show.
Yeah.
That was, we set that whole trade show in.
So we're talking mainly around events. So birthdays, bar mitzvahs,
right,
weddings.
Yeah, but then you also get into like the festivals,
right?
Fair,
okay.
July 4th, Lake Union.
Yep.
Husky football games, the Zone, that's
right.
part of it. You also get into corporate. PACCAR is a client. A lot of walks and runs.
Right.
and then a lot of nonprofits that have their annual events.
Right.
And then, believe it or not, one of the craziest jobs that we do is rock concerts or music concerts.
I ran into your team at the Green Day concert.
Yeah, I was
And you had a
there.
whole team. Eddie had a whole team there of kids, and they were like, I go, what's your job? I saw Grand Event Rental. I said, you guys work for Eddie? They go, yeah. I go, what's your job? Well, after the concert, we have to take all these chairs and take them down. And
6 a.m. the day before.
yeah.
And you have to build it based on Ticketmaster's layout.
Of course, yeah.
And then the minute the concert's over, it comes out. Like, it's the craziest 36 hours.
Yeah.
We hit it hard and heavy with about 24 to 32 people somewhere in there to set anywhere from 8 to 10,000 chairs.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the Taylor Swift fans have you to thank.
Yes, exactly. Part of the bribe or pay, as we say it, is they get to come in and see at least the last hour and a half of a concert.
Yeah.
And that also helps with the incentive to get enough people in there to clear it out because, when we're at T-Mobile, they want that grass cleared as soon as possible. They're kind of picky about the grass there. I don't know why.
Hey, go M's.
Yeah.
Anything we can do to give them a little bit of a leg up. So tell us about, business these days. And, the pandemic, you survived.
We survived. We definitely, during the pandemic, we went down 67%.
Wow.
And who would have thought that everything we did is crowd gathering, but kind of it is. And so we ended up, pivoting. We ended up doing schools, restaurants, bars. We did a funeral at a home.
So tell us about that.
I'd never, ever done a funeral at home. We've done some memorial services.
Right.
But they weren't allowing the gathering.
Right.
So the funeral home actually brought the casket to the house.
Right.
And we did an actual funeral in a home. I mean, the thing about COVID, you did things that you've never seen in your life.
Yeah.
The other thing about it is you usually have life experiences to back up everything you run across in your life.
Doing this for a while.
You had nothing.
Wow.
You had nothing to do. And then post-COVID, there are these people, especially the wedding side of life, let alone the sporting and the festival. Almost all the festivals shut down. But people were like, oh, we're going to get married next year. And then it didn't quite happen.
Yeah.
So 2 things happened. They did backyard weddings. Right. So suddenly we're doing the smaller backyard weddings. Or they were like, heck with it, we're just going to do it. Yeah. And then the year after that, so 22 especially, there was this huge pent-up demand and weddings blew up.
Yeah, and so you were booked up weeks, if not months in advance.
Yeah, there's months of July and August even now.
Yeah.
We're already booked. We can't take another order. We look at numbers of stops we can do on a day, volume of equipment, and when we book something, it's actually yours.
Yeah.
We've had a few people come to us to where they booked somewhere else and they suddenly didn't have the equipment.
Yeah.
And so if we book something for you, it's yours and it's there. We go up into the islands. We go to Eastern Washington.
So yeah, pretty much most
Western Washington, and then into Eastern Washington, Wenatchee, Chelan, places like that.
What's the coolest event you guys have done?
Well, that YPO was pretty impressive. It's fun. You do different events like that.
Yeah.
Through the years, I've just done some crazy stuff where it's like you got to sign non-disclosure.
I know, you can't talk about that stuff.
Or like did Mary Kay Letourneau's wedding years ago.
Okay.
So you do these odd things, but it's at the end of the day, it's really just making sure the event goes smooth, everybody's happy, and the bills are paid, right?
Yeah. I'm sure, have you had to deal with some bridezillas over the year?
Yeah, there's usually 2 a year.
Okay.
It's just the nature of the beast. Sometimes it's the mother of the bride, sometimes it's the bride.
Yeah.
But that's just the nature of that beast.
Yeah. You anticipate it, you build ahead.
Yeah, you do, and you just work with them and just, you just work tighter. I mean, sometimes, it's interesting. I think the record we have, so every time we touch an order and we change it, it changes the number. The order number stays the same, but the quantity.
Yeah.
I think we made it, the craziest wedding made it up to 46.
Change orders?
Yeah, it changes. Yeah. But it's, you know what? I love it because every day is different. We could be doing a winery one day, a wedding another day, a memorial one day.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things we actually do. Every fallen officer in the line of duty. We do all line of duty deaths, and we donate it.
That, I did not know that. That's good to know.
Yeah, it's these huge events, where it's like 2,000 to 4,000 people show up, and it's just,
it's such a sad.
It is a sad occasion.
These individuals have really put themselves.
They do.
Family is sacrificed. They've sacrificed. I just remember, when you hear about that, it's just, it really puts a knot in your stomach.
It does, because they're doing what protects us.
Yeah.
Once in a while, there's very few bad people in that business, but once in a while it happens. But overall, I tell people, do you want to do that job? Yeah. It's tough, especially with the homeless issues and the things that happen downtown and stuff.
I remember growing up, I think the first thing I wanted to be was a police officer. And at that time, I think it was such a high regarded profession. That uniform, that crisp uniform, the cap, it was pretty cool. And I think over time, and you had a lot of respect for law enforcement.
Right.
You get a lot of respect for teachers.
Yeah.
And over time, the stuff's all got watered down and convoluted, and maybe it'll find its way back. But these are individuals that really kind of are the backbone and the pillar of our society.
They really are. I mean, you look at what teachers went through with COVID, and now you're looking at what the students are going through with that. And
these people are like children.
Yeah.
My dad used to say, there's God, there's teacher, and then your parents. So it's like,
exactly.
That was like, you didn't talk back, you didn't disrespect, and that was that was important. We digress.
We do, but I think that takes us into what's going on today.
Yeah.
You're dealing with people that have come out of COVID, and I say this at work all the time, PTCD. I firmly believe there's this post-traumatic COVID disorder.
Yeah.
And people are a little more on edge. It's like, it's not the bridezillas, but people are coming in and like, I just got to get this planned, and can you help me with this? And
it's a weird time. I'm talking to Josh Dunn this morning. I don't know if you know him. He's the publisher of Premier, his South Sound business, 425 business. And he was saying, it feels like a little bit of a weird time right now. And with all these things going on, post-COVID, we're all kind of, I think, and you got the bank stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's just cautious because, nobody expected COVID and what could happen there. And it's like, okay, well, basically anything is on the table.
Right.
And I think, along with this PTCD you've talked about, I think you're right. And we're living in a new world, but we also have learned, man, how quickly we can pivot, how quickly we can adapt. And you saw so many great new businesses come out of this as well.
That's true. And, I think this is also a perfect segue where we talk about BizX, because the banks, you look at the percentages of just a loan these days. I'm looking at new trucks as an example. I paid $95,000 for my last new truck in 2020.
Yeah.
$157 right now.
Same truck?
Yep.
Inflation?
Well, supply chain issues. The dealer said he normally gets 72, he gets 36. So, and then you're paying this interest rate. So it's like, this is where you pivot and you try to do what you can through barter, through BizX.
So we've been working together. So I looked at our numbers together. How much business do you think we've done since 2005?
In the millions.
So almost over $7 million. So I think through BizX, we've helped you generate over $3.5 million in new revenue.
Yeah. No, it's a great program.
So tell us about your experience with BizX as far as, why it works for you or how it's helped grow your business.
It helps in the sense of I constantly have a list of things I'm looking for. And, you have to manage it. Some people will sign up but not really understand it, and you really have to understand and work with it. That's why I'm always willing to talk to someone to walk them through. For instance, suddenly I need uniforms. Well, when I buy uniforms, I'm spending $10,000 to $15,000 in uniforms because I need long sleeve shirts, short sleeve shirts, coats.
Yeah.
And that's a classic example that I've used multiple times through barter. Another one is truck graphics.
Yeah.
Over the years, I've probably done graphics on 15 to 20 trucks. So and those are big ticket items.
So explain, maybe you want to explain to our audience, why is it cheaper for you to use BizX than to just write a check like you normally would?
Because I'm freeing up actual cash to save for other things. And people have to understand BizX is like, it's not you trade directly. You have an account, you build up a balance. It's like having a checking account, and you decide what you're going to spend that on, whether it's restaurants. We actually include monthly fees to our employees.
Bonuses.
Yeah.
You guys take part, we call it the BizX Perks program.
Right.
So,
Yep.
so in your business, so just to explain, you're getting this business that you're getting from BizX. That's new business that you normally wouldn't have gotten.
Right.
So it's new customers, increased market share. So I think you got when you draw the whole circle out, then it can make sense.
Right, because the one thing the BizX does is they protect the cash customer. So if I have Bill Jones' company already as a cash customer, that's not the BizX client coming in. It's brand new business. It was using somebody else. They're generating BizX within their business. How do they take that and spend it? And they can come and do the rentals in barter.
Yeah. So a company has a catering company has a $25,000 rate rental expense annually. They're using one of your competitors. They can switch over to you,
right?
Spend in BizX dollars.
Yep.
They're not having to come out of pocket for it.
No, and it frees up that cash for them to apply towards food, maybe to wages.
Yeah, and you're taking that $25,000 in BizX and using it for operational business expenditures,
right,
which frees up your cash.
Right. And one of those other sides of the business I use is plumbing, electrical, painting.
Yeah.
Anything to do with building maintenance.
Well, I think the attitude you have is actually, would it be fair to say that you and your organization have this attitude? Before you spend any money, you look to see if it's on BizX first?
Absolutely.
So I think that's one of the things that's made you so successful within BizX.
Yeah.
And we look at it as marginal cost. So you're renting out, you've already bought the equipment.
Right.
So you've already got this warehouse full of equipment.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, your marginal cost, what do you think your marginal cost is on sales?
Oh, typically it's about 30 to 40%, but heavy labor.
Yeah.
Very heavy labor on what we do.
Right. And so, if you're able to look at when you're buying at your marginal cost of goods. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep.
So the how are you finding? So going back to business, what are your biggest challenges these days?
Keeping staff.
Yep.
Vehicles.
Right.
And then costs of operating vehicles. Insurance.
Yeah.
Has shot through the roof just putting a vehicle on the road. So that's some of those things, and that's where that cash is freed up because all those costs have gone up.
Yeah.
So
the extra cash you're able to generate through BizX.
Right.
We assume if you have let's say a 30 to 40% marginal cost, for every, $10,000 you do in BizX, that's going to generate an extra $6,000 in cash for you.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, now you're having to invest it back into the business.
Right. The other beauty about that, though, it's also dollar to dollar retail.
Yeah.
And so there is no haggling. There is no, well, how much can you do this for? This is what it is at my retail. I'm going to buy from you at your retail, and it works. It works great.
What do you think? Do you think BizX gives you a competitive edge over your competitors? And if so, how big is that hedge?
I think it does because we can approach somebody that isn't a client and say, look, we can save you this right here.
Yeah.
And it's a big edge because we don't have them right now. The big thing is that they're ideally need to already be a member. Otherwise, we got to kind of hold their hand and walk them through it.
Yeah.
Which we have no qualms with because it's like, I'm going to tell them the same thing that I'm telling you. This is going to free up money for you to buy food.
Well, it's part of a community. You're part of the community, and like I said, you're a pretty active participant in the community, and the more people in it, the more people that operate, the better it is for you and for everybody else.
Right. And now, to me, is the time to really jump on that bandwagon and run with it. because of what's going on with the banking, tightening credit lines, where can you not spend cash?
Yeah.
That's really the way to look at it.
And I didn't take a look. Have you ever taken, we offer BizX lines of credits. Have you ever over the years, taken advantage of that?
I think we only hit it once.
Yeah. But that, let's say you had a $50,000 expense come up tomorrow and you only have $25,000 in your BizX account, we can give you a line of credit and then you get to pay it back later with new sales. So again, rather than borrowing from the bank, you're able to borrow on future sales.
Exactly. And that to me is where like a caterer coming in, we can free up that money for them.
Yep.
Even though they may not have that built up balance with you, they can pull on their line knowing that their busy time is the summer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to in 2023? What are your biggest, if you could wave a magic wand, what are like the top 3 things you're trying to accomplish in your business this year?
I think just efficiencies. I've always been one looking at, I want to be consistent across the board in the look.
Yeah.
Whether it's uniforms on the guys, the logos on the trucks, being active in the community.
Yep.
Both on the, industry level, but also on a community level.
Yeah.
Like we'll stand behind some of these community groups that come out and it's a great cause. We'll be like, look, we'll just charge you delivery to 100%, donation and work that way. And I think then just, efficiencies at work. One of the things we use is we have an SEO through BizX.
Okay.
We have I know our computer guy is through BizX.
Okay.
And so just, the thing is the technology side is beyond my knowledge.
It's changing.
But it's things I know we need. Like right now we're working on a project through BizX where I go, I don't even understand because this is like AI working on your website behind the scenes.
Right.
But I know we need this.
Yeah.
And that's going forward. And I know it's a 3 to 6 month turnaround because all this stuff behind, and then you read stuff on this technology and it's like, but I mean, that's something you asked.
It's changing
technology.
Quickly. Yeah. So technology efficiencies, they kind of go hand in hand.
Yep.
That's great. What are you most concerned about? What's keeping you up at night right now?
Cost.
Yeah.
Insurance, and it goes across the board. So medical and dental insurance for employees, right? Which we use for our dental.
Yeah.
We use BizX.
We have over 30 or 40 dentists so you guys self-insure.
We use BizX exclusively for dental.
That's great. And we just, there's a new dentist that just came up right around here. Sunrise Dentistry was another location.
Yeah.
And he's right here in Bothell, so your employees have another.
Yeah. Medical is another one, that costs have gone up. The insurance of the vehicles, L&I for your employees has gone up. Because the other thing you got to look at is the state is recovering some of this stuff. One of the things I'd love to get away from is diesel fuel, but it's not there yet.
Yeah.
I looked at, the same truck I was telling you about, 157,000. I can get an all-electric truck.
Yeah.
150-mile range.
Yeah.
$320,000.
Oh, wow.
So it doesn't fill out.
When it gets there.
As soon as you get them in trade, I'm there.
Okay, let's get it. So if anybody here is in the electric truck business and is looking for new customers, do reach out to us and we could be a new sales channel for you.
Yeah.
So what brand of truck is that at 300 some?
It's a Kenworth.
So Kenworth does this.
Yes, and Kenworth is probably ahead of it.
Yeah.
Any of them.
Yeah.
As anybody.
Are they selling these out or are they still trying to get adoption?
No, I think, you just look at those numbers and it doesn't.
Well, maybe, So if anybody from Kenworth is watching, we should talk and we might be able to sell a few units for you using BizX.
Yeah. And they make a great product. I mean, we have a couple of them and they're awesome trucks.
That's great.
Yeah.
So tell us about Eddie. What are you doing when you're not working? Because I do know I like to entertain. We've had events and if I text you 24/7, you're on it. I don't think
try to be.
I appreciate it. So what are you doing when you're not working?
I ski.
Okay.
Got 2 grandkids now.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So Fridays till I get crazy busy is grandson day.
Okay.
And
how old are they?
16 months and 4 years old.
Okay.
Grandkids are so much fun than your own kid.
Your own. I got 3.
Yeah, I know.
Just turned 14.
I'm sorry.
No, I love them. But 14, 12, and going to be 11 in June.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And then I love to travel.
Yeah.
I've done some lifetime trips through barter.
Through BizX. Yeah. We've got some great, that's been there's some really cool things out there.
Yep. I've been to Africa on a safari. I went on a cruise from Istanbul to Athens through BizX. I did the Amalfi Coast on BizX.
We have some new cruises and you should check it out. There's some really cool new stuff that's coming.
Even places to stay. One of the best places I ever stayed.
Yeah.
I was in Rome.
Yeah.
I stayed at the bottom of the Spanish Steps.
Yeah.
And it was such a high-end hotel. I think it had 30 rooms.
Yeah.
That you didn't have a front desk. You sat on the couch and checked in with
I have to get the name of that. I'm supposed to go to Italy this summer, so.
It was owned by the Ferragamo family.
Oh, okay.
We had a 2-bedroom unit there with a rooftop deck with unlimited wine.
Okay.
And it was all through BizX. It was a coolest place.
I have to check that out.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to get that back.
I'd like to see the slippers.
Yeah. They had a receipt on the wall to Marilyn Monroe from 1959 or 8.
Oh, wow.
For $367 for like a pair of shoes or 2 pairs of shoes. Which, if you think about it,
back
today,
then was a lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah, but
still a lot of money.
It is. Yeah, I don't think I spent that much on a pair of shoes.
Oh, great.
But yeah, travel is a phenomenal thing, and then the restaurants.
Yeah.
And that's something we'll give out. We'll also take the gift cards and donate them to some of these nonprofit auctions.
Actually, I was going to talk to you about nonprofits. You know, we work with over 100 nonprofits now. So from Habitat for Humanity to the Rifkin Foundation to various, and so I know we've done a bunch, but I've learned now today that you're doing more. I'd love to figure out, there's probably something we could do where we could create the nonprofit BizX Grant Event Program and say, here you go.
Yeah. That is, to me, it's a no-brainer for nonprofits.
Well, that's my favorite part of our business now, if you think about it, because if you think about what we do is we monetize this excess capacity.
Yeah.
These companies like yourselves who've got, are able to get new sales or we're able to take this excess capacity and give it to a nonprofit who can, they're working on curing cancer. They're working on after-school programs for kids. They're working on doing these things. It actually is. We're helping these businesses increase their cash flow, which is great. And it puts money in your pocket or helps you offset costs. And now we're actually giving back to the community and doing good. That's the part that gets me really excited about what we do.
No, the nonprofits is a huge part of it. And to me, any way you can help it, especially, like you say, cures for cancer, taking care of kids, all those are just phenomenal.
Yeah, it was one of our charity. I remember Joe White, the executive director of the Rifkin Foundation, a few years ago. He said, I think they saved 60 or 70 people because of their early detection. So okay, to be a part of that, was really cool. Well, cool. Well, anything else that you want to share about your company or our experiences together?
No, I think, one of the things we really do is, and we don't really push it because it's such a big thing right now, but we push for really try to be environmentally friendly and sustainable as much as possible.
Yeah.
For instance, all our tents are made here in Washington State.
Right.
We actually try to go local, West Coast, national, and then international when we have to. I'd love to say we can get 100% away from international, but it's really tough.
Yeah. Well, at least you're thinking about it.
No, you do a lot of things
and trying to
do that.
And if you had option A or B, a lot of people don't think about it.
No. And
you're thinking about it and you're making conscious decisions. And if you didn't choose the local or the national made in America, then, it's going to, it was through circumstance versus,
Right. For instance, we actually put skirts and a nose cone on all our trucks.
Yeah.
And that's because it increases their fuel efficiency by about 7%. Now, on a semi-trailer, the payback is 3 to 5 years. On a truck, it's 5 to 7. But to me, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because I look at it like, even if I break even or lose a little,
you're ahead of the game.
I'm doing something better. We had a guy call us the other day, true story. We have skirts on the side of our box trucks.
Yeah.
As far as I know, we're one of the few in the entire state or nation that put skirts on small trucks. And it says, my skirt saves fuel. This guy called in and said, I want to thank you for putting skirts on your truck. And he goes, because what you don't realize, if a bicyclist comes along, he's not going to get under the wheels of your truck. He's going to be pushed out.
Right.
And would otherwise, and it's a safety feature. And I'm like, we didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just things like that we try to do. We look at, can we buy it closer? Where else can we get it locally?
How big is your team now? How many employees are you?
Our core is about 30, and during the summer we go to 50 plus.
And what kind of scale? How big are you guys these days?
We do plenty.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But that's...
it's a very competitive world.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
But we've grown every year except COVID.
Yeah.
Every year.
And did you guys take advantage of the ERTC?
Yes, we did.
And did you use the BizX company to do that?
They didn't get back to us as quick as another company.
Okay.
We looked into them.
Yeah.
But there's a classic example of where it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, we helped. I think we've helped about, I think it's $10 or $15 million in that. But that was a good one.
Yeah. And during COVID, we had the PPP, which saved our lives.
That was it. I remember COVID vividly at times, and I think starting in like March, when stuff just started to slow down. I remember going to Bellevue Square for lunch, and it was a ghost town in there. This was the first 2 days. I'm like, this is kind of scary. What's coming at us?
Right.
And then I remember everybody's now working from home, which to me was like getting dressed in the dark.
Right.
Like it just didn't feel normal. I'm a people person.
Yeah.
And, Zoom is okay, but you miss that third dimension.
Not having that social interaction really impacted people. True story. March 22nd, I'm in Hawaii on a BizX vacation.
Yeah.
In Maui.
Yeah.
And we get a notice 4 days into our vacation, paper under the door that says, just to let you know, someone within the resort has come down with COVID. All of a sudden, some of the restaurants started closing down, but we still had a great vacation.
Yeah.
We flew back Maui to L.A., Cape. L.A. to Dallas, because we were going through Dallas on the way back. 14 people on the plane. Dallas to Seattle, 7. On a 737. Yeah. Right. So but like you say, COVID really threw us for a loop.
Yeah.
We're just kind of gaining back that social skill. We need the interaction in person.
Yep.
People don't realize how important that is to everyone.
When you're talking about PPP, I still remember talking. We're working 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day on the phone, getting tents. I remember one of the things that you did, we did quite a bit of this during COVID, is you were renting tents, or we're getting tents to restaurants.
Right.
This was a huge thing. I forgot about that. Yep. And we probably had a dozen restaurants using BizX to put your tents out there. Yep. But I still remember, I think the first PPP tranche hit like around May.
Right. Before
that, I just remember everybody being on pins and needles and talking to everyone. There's a lot of distress. And then I think once the PPP money started hitting people, everybody's like, okay, this is going to be
literally a lifeline.
It was.
For a lot of companies. And it was.
And hats off. It doesn't matter which side of the political spectrum you're on. Exactly. They got their shit together, and it worked.
Stepped up and
it made sense.
Got us all back on our feet.
Well, Eddie, how great was this? Thank you for taking the time to come join us, and really appreciate you as a member, and wish you all the success in your business, and looking forward to working together for many years to come.
For sure. And thank you for being there. And anytime, I'm an advocate if somebody wants to walk through it.
Yeah.
You know, I've told people in your office, just have them call me. I'll walk them through.
Thank you.
So they can be comfortable. Great.
Thanks, Eddie.
You bet.